From the Rutgers Athletic Center in Piscataway, New Jersey, it is the second home meet of the season for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. They are competing today against the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Yale Bulldogs. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Our Vision alongside former Rutgers head coach Crystal Chalet-Norton. I'm Mark Sell. Very great to have you here with us this afternoon. And today is Alumni Day, Crystal, and you had a chance to spend a little time with some of the alums in the back of the rack here.
Yes, I did. It was Alumni Day, and it was very nice. They had a little brunch for them, and we had about 30 alumni, and we're hoping that in the future we'll get more. That we want to say a shout-out to Eileen Norris, who was our first gymnastic coach, who started this program 40 years ago. And what is really nice is the vision of the new facility, and the Rutgers athletic director was there and spoke to the girls, and it was really nice to be a part of it and see that, you know, how far it's come and where it's going to go. And he's embracing it, which is great.
Big things on the horizon for Rutgers athletics and this entire program as well. And now this time we're going to send it down mat level to our sideline reporter, Casey Murphy. Casey?
Thanks, Mark. You know, the Scarlet Knights are extremely excited heading into today's meet. There's a lot of positive energy down here on the mat. And earlier today, I got to talk to head coach Lou Levine, who said that he thinks that they're more prepared for this meet than they have been for any other all year, based on not only their improvements last week in their meet against Michigan, but also because of the fact that they had an excellent week of practice. He said that they feel great, better than ever, and he's expecting a lot of good things today.
Well, thank you, Casey, and he should feel that way, Coach Lou Levine, as you see right here, because Rutgers is coming off its season-high performance of a 193.50 score over the past weekend at Michigan State. It was a quad meet against the Spartans. Rutgers edged out Pitt by a little more than 5/10, and then Towson won the overall meet as well. So Rutgers at 1-6. 0-3 in the Big Ten Conference, but they're looking to get their first conference win today against the Buckeyes.
Yeah, that will be a real big win if they can. Hopefully they can be consistent on 4 events, and that's what they need to do. I think they have the same level, but they just have to hit all 4 events.
And the one event that Rutgers has been most consistent on this year has been the vault. If you take a look at the statistics, the vault right now, as you see that Rutgers is warming up on right now, this has been their most consistent event because they've posted their highest scores in that event throughout all their meets this year.
Yeah, they're very clean. They don't have 10 O's on all their vaults, but what they do very well and clean, and that's what a judge wants to see. They don't want to see that extra step. They want to see as much control in the landing. So do what you can do well, even if it's not this 10-0 start value.
And multiple times, head coach Lou Levine this season has said that vault has been the highlight of the day coming out of meets. He said that after the Nebraska meet. He said it after the Michigan State meet as well. So we talk about how important it is for Rutgers to start out strong. That's what they've done this year.
Right. And it's nice when you have a home meet because vaulting is your first event, so you can really go hard and you don't have to worry about calming yourself down like if you were starting on beam. So that really is a big plus for the home team.
And our lineup for the vault this afternoon, as you see the competitors warming up right now as we speak, there's a clock that counts down from 5 minutes in between each event. So each school has 5 minutes of warm-up on that event, and then when that clock reaches 0, we will officially start off the meet. This is head coach Lou Levine right here in his 5th season at the helm with the Scarlet Knights, the 2014 Eagle Coach of the Year. That was the conference that Rutgers was in previously before the Big Ten Conference. The lineup for Rutgers on vault: Emma Hoffman, Libby Groden, Claire Jones, Ray Ali, Nicolette Wilson, and Michelle Amarisano. So with Rutgers at 1-6 this season, back at home, back at the rack, what do you expect from the Scarlet Knights?
Well, hopefully they'll have a good meet because, again, going to regionals is not a win-loss situation. It's a season average score of home and away. So if they can get a solid 195, that's going to help their seasonal score, which will help them get into regionals. So the win-loss is not like you would need for football. Okay, so they kind of don't even look at that. I mean, it's nice to win, but again, the main goal is to get to regionals. And that's the top 36 teams in the nation go.
So we saw a couple of shots of Ohio State warming up earlier. The Buckeyes 1-3 this season, 0-3 in the Big Ten Conference. They're coming off of a loss at home against number 18 Minnesota last week. And Yale this year, as we will see throughout the match this afternoon, 1-4 on the season. And Barbara Tonry in her 44th season as the head coach of the Bulldogs. She's been there ever since the program's inception in 1973. Just under a minute left in the warm-ups right here. You see Claire Jones giving one last run-through right there on the left side of your screen. And we talked about this in previous broadcasts as well, Crystal, but this is the next step for the program. Rutgers now gradually having more meets here at the rack. Before last year, when you and I broadcasted the Senior Day meet, that was the first meet here at the rack since 2006. And then this season, 2 meets here at the rack, 4 home meets overall. The first 2 here, and the last 2 at the Livingston Recreation Center.
Yeah, and it's really great to have it here because it's a great facility, and I think down the line, all the meets will be here. All right, and I think all the teams, like wrestling, like gymnastics, like volleyball, should be, in our place, not like a recreation building, but I think that's going to definitely change. And the next week meet is sold out, which is great again.
Coach Levine getting everything organized right here before his Scarlet Knights start off this afternoon on the vault. So here's Emma Hoffman, redshirt senior from Union, New Jersey. She'll await the signal from the judges that they're ready to go. And we will get ready to go here from the Rutgers Athletic Center.
I just did a Pachenko layout full, which is it's a 995 now, as we talked about last meet. They have lowered those vaults a half a tenth, just because there was so many athletes doing it, and the judges need a little bit more differentiation. The deductions for Emma would be the hop on the end, okay, because they want you to stick the landing.
Not as much movement from the base of your feet to where your feet eventually end up.
If you take a big hop, you can get a tenth and a half.
And throughout the afternoon, we will pass along the individual scores to those of you watching at home here on our Vision. And now we move on to the beam here. This is Yale starting out. I mentioned earlier, the Bulldogs at 1-4 on the season.
Yes, I've known Barbara for many years, and she's an outstanding coach and done a nice job at Yale.
She was named an Eastern Region Co-Coach of the Year at one point, and she's brought 14 Ivy League Classic championships.
Yeah,
out to Connecticut.
She has a dynasty there.
What'd you see there?
That was a great vault from Libby. That should be a nice high score. She stuck the landing. She didn't hop. She had nice rise, and the twist was completed on the way down, which is what you want to see. You want to see the twist finished and then land, and that's exactly what she did.
Groden is a sophomore out of Abbottstown, Pennsylvania, named as a 2016 Big Ten Gymnast to watch. And now we transition over to Claire Jones, junior from Gaffney, South Carolina.
And Claire does a front handspring front pike, which is a difficult vault to do as well. It is a 9.999, but it's a different vault, and she does it well. Nice straight legs, just a little step on the ending, which will be a deduction.
And we'll pass that score along to you as soon as we receive it here from the in-house statistics. Emma Hoffman, score just came in for her. She led off the vault on this event for Rutgers, a 9.575, and Libby Groden checking in at 9.725 right here. And she'll pass the baton to Ray Ali, the freshman from Ann Arbor, Michigan. What is the most important thing, in your opinion, to execute on vault as a competitor in gymnastics?
Well, you want to really see a lot of blocking and rising off the horse and landing, not landing with the twist like Leia did. She landed completely straight. So her twist was completed above the level of the horse. And when you look at it in instant replay, you'll see what that means. She does the twist and she's finished above the horse and then lands. Her deduction is a big hop, because she didn't control it, so she could get up to 2/10 off of that because of the hop. But again, when you block that hard and that, she's got a lot of power, and that's where it's difficult to land vaulting.
Score moments ago came in for Claire Jones, 9.675 here on the vault, and we'll pass along Ray Ali. So now we turn our attention to Nicolette Wilson, who in this event this past weekend set a career high on this event. Wilson a 9.850 at Michigan State.
And her vault is worth a 10 because she's doing a Suk, not a Yuchenko, so it's much harder to do.
What's the difference between those two?
Yuchenko is a round-off entry, and she's not doing a round-off entry. She'll do a front entry to the vault, which is, again, harder to do. So she's blocking front. She does do a twist, but she's not doing a back handspring on the board and off.
We see her land a little bit to her right as well, right?
Right, and that would be a deduction for a direction that the judge can take, which it could be 1 or 2/10, but usually it's maybe a 1/2 tenth. And then she did have a hop to that side as well.
Wilson leads the team coming into today with a 9.806 average on this event. Wilson certainly one of the many highlights for Rutgers from this past weekend at Michigan State. Score just came in for Ray Ali at 9.775 on vault. Ali, 2 competitors previously for Rutgers. And the 6th and final competitor here, Michelle Amorisano, getting ready to go for the Scarlet Knights. Amorisano, a freshman out of Whippany, New Jersey. On this event at Michigan State last weekend, Amorisano matched her career high with a 9.775 performance, something that this man, Coach Levine, was very proud of.
Yes, very nice, very proud. like I said, the team is each week is getting better, and that's what you want to do in the season is progress each week. Okay, you don't want to start out really great and then go down. So that's the game plan of every coach.
And the cheers you hear, Ohio State wrapping up right here on uneven bars. Amara Sana using that short stride into her finish.
Again, then she had a layout half off, which is again a 10-0 vault, so it's harder. She did have a little step on that, which is going to affect the outcome of her score, because again, she's not in control of the landing, and that's what the judges look for.
And Nicolette Wilson just tagged in at 9.675 here on vault. So meanwhile, Yale right now, halfway through the balance beam. And the overall scores right now as they're coming in, RU at 48.425 on the vault. And again, these cumulative scores are being added up as we speak. Right now, Ohio State just finishing up on uneven bars at 49.050. And Yale just over a 28.2 on beam. But again, like I said, we're about halfway through that event right now.
And it appears that Ohio State had a great bar workout. Every single one of their teams girls did well.
And we talk about Yale and head coach Barbara Tonry really being the face of the Yale gymnastics program.
Yes, and her and her husband, he's passed away, but he was a professor in phys ed, and so he was very prominent as well there. All right, so they both have a long career at Yale, and even we've been competing against them for many, many years. And it's a nice little compete because it's close. It's family can get to see you, or you're not going far away, so it's nice.
And Coach Tonry's late husband, Don, was a former Olympian who coached the Yale varsity team back in the 70s.
Yes.
Won 3 Ivy League titles. In the 80s, in 1980, the men's program actually lost status as a varsity sport, so he stayed and still wanted to coach and mentor students who were interested in learning about the art of gymnastics, which really says a lot about what this family has brought to the table with this sport.
Exactly. They're, like I said, those two are like legend at Yale.
So Rutgers wrapped up on vault just now. The final score for Michelle Amorisano, 9.775. So Amorisano, again, matches her career high again from last week. The overall score for Rutgers on vault, 48.625. Ohio State on bars just finished at 49.050. And Yale is still continuing on the balance beam. So we'll take a break right now. And once Yale is concluded, or towards the end, we will rejoin you guys shortly. So thank you for tuning in. This is Rutgers Gymnastics on Our Vision. Welcome back to the Rutgers Athletic Center here on this Saturday afternoon. Scarlet Knights competing against Yale and Ohio State, a tri-meet this season for Rutgers. We're in our second in-between period right now. Scarlet Knights warming up on uneven bars, their second rotation of this afternoon. And while Rutgers finishes up here, let's send it down to mat level with our sideline reporter, Casey Murphy. Casey.
Thanks, Mark. After the vault performance, Coach Lou Levine looks slightly frustrated, and being that that's their best event so far throughout the season, it's not really a good sign. He kind of pulled the team back in, redirected their focus, redirected their attention. They looked a lot stronger heading into the bars, especially now during warm-ups. They just look a lot more focused on what the goal is, what the task is at hand. He looks slightly amped up, a little angry, but we'll see.
All right, thank you, Casey. And as we transition to uneven bars, this was an event that Rutgers struggled with a little bit the last meet that we were here against Illinois. But when they went on the road to Nebraska after that, they posted a season-high score on that event.
That's good, and that's a sign of a great competitive squad, that they can realize that they made mistakes, go back into the gym, fix the mistakes, and come back out and be strong. And hopefully this will be the same type of thing here. All right. I mean, he probably was a little frustrated with vaulting because of the landings, and that's where you give tenths away that you don't want to give away. So, but if they have a good bar set, they've got strong bars, and they should be able to meet what they did at Nebraska, if not better.
48.75 on that event at Nebraska, as Coach Levine is getting everybody organized right now. What do you think he's telling them right now in the huddle?
He's just telling them to think about the routine. Take each skill at a time. Don't, think ahead of your routine. Just do each skill one by one, and then you'll have your routine. Don't think ahead to the dismount, because then you're going to miss little things, and make sure they catch the handstands. Okay, just little things like that.
And the lineup for the Scarlet Knights as we speak right now on uneven bars. Libby Groden, Ariel Santagato, the younger sister of Charlie Santagato for Rutgers, Michelle Morisano, Emma Hoffman, and Mackenzie Schenk. There's also one exhibition on uneven bars. That'll be Rhea Lee, which we will see right afterwards. So Nand set to get it going for Rutgers.
Nice release move at reverse hecht. She's hitting the handstands, which are good. Another one. Half turn overshoot to the handstand is a D skill, which was very good, and she held it. Nice start. That's what you want for your first girl that leads off. That gives the tone of the meet.
Nand has a season high in this event of a 9.625. She accomplished that in the first meet of the season at the Little Boston Invitational against New Hampshire and George Washington.
This was a very nice routine, very clean.
And a lot of the cheering that you hear right now is for the Yale Bulldogs. They are currently on the floor exercise, and as you can tell, that's the event that produces the most excitement.
Yeah.
A lot of hype. Yale sitting at 1-4 this season. Barbara Tomry, the head coach, and now Libby Groden. Second event for her this afternoon. She competes in the all-around position.
Very nice
the
release.
Sophomore.
Okay, very nice release move, I was going to say. Very clean. She hits her handstands very nice. Very nice routine. A little step on her dismount, but still it's a double. It's an E dismount, very difficult. And that's what her routine started with a major D and ended with a major E. So it's a nice, really composition in a routine.
And what are the biggest differences between, I know we talked about this in the past, but the different scoring interpretations from both of the letter grades you get from the D to the E?
Well, like each is worth something. You need so many, 3 A's, B's. Okay, and a D is a bonus. So if you have a D, you get 1/10 bonus, and their routines start at a 9.5. So that's where they start, and then to go on up to that, you need either an E, which is 2/10, and a D is 1/10. So she had an E, and she had a D, and plus she had a bonus, which they call connection value. She did two things together. So if you go D to E together, you're going to get 2/10. So that's what makes up the 10-0 routine. And that was a very nice score.
And a 9.575 previously for Elizabeth Nand. Groden just checking in now at 9.75 herself. And now Ariel Santagato. Santagato will reapply the chalk to her hands.
Right, it's time to, kind of calm down, regrade, and finish the routine. She fell on her shapash, okay, which is a D move, so she won't get credit for that.
And a really good finish, though.
Yeah, she regrouped and finished it, and so that's what you want from your athlete. Because again, you went down, but there's still 3 other girls behind you. So
Santagato, the freshman out of Celebration, Florida. Mentioned earlier, her older sister Charlie is on the team, and amazing to think that Ariel is 2 inches taller than Charlie.
It's cute.
Charlie a junior, Ariel a freshman. And now Morisano, ready for Rutgers. And in the sport of gymnastics, there are 4 events. We have vault, uneven bars, beam, and the floor exercise. So whenever there's a meet, the home team has the option of which rotation they want to go with, and most likely you'll always see the home team start out on vault, proceed to bars, beam, and floor.
Yeah, and that is the Olympic order. So that's why the home team always gets the Olympic order.
We're seeing a lot of athleticism from Morisano here early on, transitioning from the high bar to the low one.
And again, she has an E dismount, which is very good. She did a release move over to her handstand, which is going to be a bonus combination, as I talked about before. And what you need to do is you have to have a bonus combination plus D's and E's. And she's very clean. Her handstands are in handstands, which the judges look for.
Morisano's been off to a really good start this season. We talked about her performance on the vault previously. And a couple of weeks ago, Morisano was speaking about what exactly was, kind of behind that start. And she just said, overall, I'm hitting handstands, I'm keeping my arms straight, and I'm really finding the landings.
Right, and she had a little step on that landing, but still it's a very difficult dismount to do because it's front landing.
Meanwhile, the Buckeyes so far on the beam event posting scores of 9-8, 9-8-2-5, and 9-3-5 so far. So typically, Crystal, when we get into a meet like this, well, typically when there's a meet of only 2 schools competing, what will happen is that one school will be on one event, another school on the other, but the athletes will alternate in terms of who goes.
Yes.
So are we seeing that for this meet here, where it seems like Rutgers is waiting for either Ohio State to finish a routine or for Yale to finish a routine? Or is it more so waiting for the judges to get all their scores together?
It's more or less the judges. As soon as the judges are ready, you compete. And right now the bar judges are having a conference, so they were out of range for some reason. We can't see the other judge and what the score was. So they have come in whether or not one of them, the start value was off, and that's what you can now. As a coach, Lou could then and put in an inquiry because they did speak, and he could ask why, what were they discussing. Right, and this is where, you want a person like Emma who is, strong, so she's not, the weight is not going to affect her because she's been in these positions before.
The redshirt senior definitely has obviously a lot of experience in obviously preparing for her event and still keeping her mind focused even when there are down periods of time when you're waiting for the signal, but she will get the signal right now as she looks to her right and to her left to acknowledge both judges. And that conference with the judges that we just saw over Michelle Morisano's score is now in a 9.725 for Michelle.
Nice release move by Emma. Again, Emma has very nice lines. Again, very hard dismount. Very nice job.
One of the best performances we've seen today so far.
Yes, very strong.
And we see it again here.
That was a Ginger, which is a D element, to a B.
And one more competitor for Rutgers due up, Mackenzie Shank, the 6th and final competitor here on uneven bars for Rutgers. We also have one exhibition, Rhea Lee, which will take place afterwards. Here's the sophomore from Phoenix, Arizona.
Nice release move. She did a half turn and a handstand, which is a C to a D, which is a bonus combination. She has nice form. Handstands are complete. And a stuck dismount. Very nice. Very nice.
And her teammates will let her know about it, too.
Well, it's a forward dismount, so it's very hard, and so that was an outstanding dismount.
Shank had a season high 9.625, but I got a feeling she's going to surpass that on this.
I think so. because it was a very well performed routine.
Where do you think the judges might lean on this?
Possibly maybe half a tenth on her 1 or 2 handstands, but it was a very nice routine. I would be hard for them to find something wrong with it. I mean, suck dismount really puts the exclamation point on your routine.
And certainly, sophomore Libby Groden letting her know about it. Was the first gymnast to congratulate her, give her a big hug. And here it is, 9.875 for the sophomore.
Very nice score, very nice score, well deserved.
The highest score for Rutgers on this routine. And a great way to finish off the rotation as we now move to the exhibition. So that's by far a career high for Mackenzie Shank in her short Rutgers career so far. And the overall score for Rutgers on this event, uneven bars just finished 48.675. RU's cumulative score now at 97.300. Right now, 4/10 of a point right behind Ohio State at 97.775.
That was an outstanding bar set for the team. And even though they had one fall, they didn't have to count a fall. So
once again, Yale almost finished on floor right here. And our overall score is Ohio State ahead of Rutgers and Yale, 97.775. Rutgers 97.300. And Yale right now score on the floor exercise at 36.940. So Yale will compete on that. And as they wrap that up, we will take a quick timeout right here on our vision. You're watching Rutgers Gymnastics from the Rutgers Athletic Center. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Rutgers Athletic Center. Scarlet Knights in a tri-meet today against the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Yale Bulldogs. Rutgers right now in second place overall at 97.3 through 2 events, through the vaults and through the balance beam. As we show you individual results as we go here as well. Ohio State currently in the lead at 98.150, and Yale in third at 84.7. Let's send it down once again, Matt Level to Casey Murphy.
Thanks, Mark. The Scarlet Knights are coming up with an extremely strong performance on the bars heading into the second half of today's meet. And one thing that the coaching staff has been saying since the first meet of the season is that the team really needs to start perfecting their routines. And now heading into the beam and the floor, that is where routines are vital. That's really what's going to get you those little extra points if you're hitting the music correctly, hitting the notes correctly. And I think after that strong performance on the bars, they're going to have that extra added confidence to possibly take away their first conference win.
All right, thank you, Casey. And we touched upon this earlier, Crystal, but it's about getting better as the season goes on. And if you're right there, kind of like in the middle point of the season right now, I think that Coach Levine would be pretty happy with that.
Yes, very happy. Again, he's right in the middle of the season, and that was a strong performance. And they came back, from when they were here to, the first home meet. So since then, they have gotten stronger each time, and they've built, have had a couple of their major top athletes be injured, so other people have had to step up into the lineup, which, that knows good character as well. So he's got the depth that he needs to do, to fill the lineup.
And we saw Claire Jones, who in the last home meet that we were here at for the Illinois match, she was in the exhibition round. She was working her way back. But now she's back right now, so Rutgers gets her back as well. Jenna Williams made her debut at Michigan State over the weekend as well.
Yeah, and she's an outstanding beam worker. She's beautiful up there, and she's also a beautiful bar worker, so hopefully she can be back into the bar lineup in the near future as well.
And right now she is set to compete third in the beam rotation for Rutgers. The full rotation right here, Elizabeth Nands will lead it off, Libby Groden, followed by Williams. Ariel Santagato fourth, and wrapping it up with Claire Jones and Mackenzie Shank. Shank right here, if you see on the right side of your screen, she just wrapped up a career-high performance on uneven bars at a 9.825. So Mackenzie looking to capitalize on that as we transition over here. Now this entire arena that you see right here, obviously a lot of equipment to be brought in for gymnastics, a lot of mats, a lot of covers for the floor on the hardwood. The Rutgers operations staff was hard at work last night into the early parts of this morning because Rutgers wrestling right here on this court had a dual meet against the Wisconsin Badgers. Wisconsin won that 18-15. So right after that match was over, around 9:30 or 10 o'clock last night, the crew wheeled the mats out, and this crew wheeled these mats and this equipment in. So very busy weekends here at the rack with wrestling again tomorrow as the Scarlet Knights will face Michigan.
All right, she didn't fall off, but she's going to get probably a 3/10 bobble for that. But again, you'd rather stay on for confidence sake, for the people that are following you. But again, her flight series was very good. Okay, a little step on a dismount, but way to fight for a routine, and that's what as a coach you want to do. You don't want to see him just give up and jump off. She saved the skill.
And as we see here, she finished this right until the end.
Right.
And the third event of the day right now for Libby Groden, getting a pep talk from assistant coach Danielle Delaya. Danielle, a former gymnast here at Rutgers, And they see a 9.65 from one judge. Libby Groden was an NCAA regional qualifier last year in the all-around department.
Yeah, she's very pretty on beam and very confident.
And she's got a very bright future here.
Yes, she does.
At Rutgers.
And with a year under her belt, she's got the experience of competing at a higher level, which is, that's what Lou needs.
When you're on beam, it seems to me that your routine is broken up into separate parts.
Right. You have to have a flight series. You have to have a leap series. You have to have the full turn, as the gymnasts call it, the dreaded full turn, because that could be one of the hardest skills, but it's a requirement that has to be in there. So, and you have to have a C dismount. Now that was a very beautiful routine, so she should score very well on that.
And we'll see it again right here.
Very nice full turn, no bobbles. And a full off the side, which is a C dismount, which is required.
Groden spent 9 years at the Hanover Gymnastics Club, was also a level 10 regional qualifier, and a nice performance right there, a 9.85 for Elizabeth.
Yes, very, very nice score.
And now the RAC home crowd will see Jenna Williams for the first time this season. Williams did not participate in the Illinois meet, which is our most previous Our Vision broadcast from last month. But she will get on the beam here for her RAC debut. The senior from Bordentown, New Jersey.
Had a little difficulty on her landing, but again, she didn't give up. She saved it. So she will have a slight deduction on that.
What is her mindset right now as you think she's about to wrap up?
Well, she's just trying to do each skill at a time, because she still has several skills to do, and you can't rush ahead, and you can't get frustrated in yourself. You have to keep calm and finish the routine.
And she does.
That was very nice.
Very nicely.
Right, she ended it with the stick, so she didn't give any more points away that she did on that layout step out, which is probably going to be a 10th and a half maybe. Or the judge could take 2/10.
And that move right there that you just referenced, we'll see how the judges factor in their score.
And again, very nice dismount, landed it and stuck. So
and a 9.8 flat. So right now this event, Rutgers posting its best individual score so far. We've seen back-to-back performances at least a 9.8.
yes, and again, they've done some, like again, they're very solid on beam. And beam has been their best event.
So now Santagato, her second event this afternoon. She performed on the uneven bars previously.
That's a very difficult turn. It's a double turn on beam. Not many girls can do that. And that was a front aerial to a back handspring, which is, again, a front landing, which is a little harder because you can't see your foot land, and then going right into it makes it a very hard combination. Another very nice routine, very stuck landing. Again, and that's an explanation point when you can stick the landing.
And you talk about combination, but she was able to really put everything together right there. As we'll get another look at it in a second.
Yes, she did.
Santagato's career high, which is also her season high on this event, a 9.450 earlier this year. That was against Illinois here at the rack last month.
That was a very nice routine, very solid and clean.
And you just see the judges turn their score the other way, but you just saw right there real quick a 9.75 for Santagato. Her best performance of the season.
Yes.
Which gives way to Claire Jones. Jones earlier today on the vault, leading off in me, a 9.675 for the Gaffney, South Carolina native.
Claire is a very beautiful beam worker as well and has very high difficulty level in her routine.
A season high 9.775 on this for Jones. Or right before that, very impressive in the tumble to land on both of her feet.
Exactly, and what she was doing was she's a front tuck, back tuck, which is again is a front movement to a back, which is a difficult combination to keep your body straight.
Overall, what'd you see there?
She had a nice stuck dismount, but it's going to hurt with the fall because that was also a bonus combination, so that might affect it in her start value, okay, as well as it will not affect her up to the level because each of these girls, the routines have to have a certain amount of skills to maintain their up to the level, and that's new this year that the judge, the coaches can question whether or not the judge has taken it, and if you look on their tables, you'll see an orange card, and that's the judge will put up if they take an up to the level, so that the coaches know that they did. And like I said, that's a new rule this year in effect. Yes, as I said, she still was a good score, 9.25 with the fall, but she did have a missing difficulty. Bonus.
Now Mackenzie Shank, who set a career high on the previous event on uneven bars. 9.875 for her. The sophomore from Phoenix, Arizona. This is her first season fully competing consistently in multiple events for Rutgers.
That is a front aerial twist scale, which is very difficult to do, and she performed it very well. Again, very nice way to fight and save it. So she'll get a balance error, but she stayed on.
And in this event, we're seeing Rutgers really finish strong after some slight movements up there, where they point out to one side. We've seen Grodin at 9. We've seen Nand at 9.65. And even Jen Williams finishing at 9.75 as well.
Right, so they've done well, even with the little bobbles. So there's some room for improvement. So there's routines that could be a 9.8 or 9.9.
And yet another strong finish for the sophomore.
Right, and again, that's an exclamation point, and that's the last thing the judge sees. So yeah, maybe you had a bobble a little bit before in the routine, but that's the last thing she sees and remembers. And again, that's a good competitor because she came back following one of her teammates with a fall and finished strong.
Judges finalizing both scores. One judge reads a 9.8. And we just saw the card flip to the opposite side facing us right now. Looks like 9.75. So they'll meet that score in the middle. And another good performance for Rutgers right here on the beam. Their third event completed as Ohio State will wrap up on the floor. The Buckeyes, led by head coach Carrie Fagan, in her 12th season with the Buckeyes. The 2012 National Coach of the Year was the same year that Ohio State won the national championship. And the interesting note about this Ohio State roster is that 16 gymnasts, all 16 gymnasts, are listed as all-arounders.
Okay.
How much stock do you put into that, and what does that say about this team?
Well, it shows they've got depth, okay, and so that if something should happen, they've got someone who can step into that place as an all-arounder, which is good. Because a lot of times a gymnast is just specializes in one event, and if you have that many gymnasts that are an all-around, then you have that many more athletes that can step up to the plate. And again, it's the depth, so they push each other in the gym when that's
With the Buckeyes having a lot of depth, that brought them to the NCAA Regional last year, which was actually hosted by the Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus at St. John Arena. Ohio State finished 5th there overall for the regional with a 195.650. The way that it stands right now, Ohio State leading the meet still at 147.225. Rutgers in second place after their performance on beam, 146.125. And Rutgers' performance on the beam, a 48.825. While Yale currently is in third place. 3 rotations down and one last rotation to go. We'll take a quick break, and you'll see the floor exercise for Rutgers on the other side. You're watching Rutgers Gymnastics right here on Our Vision. Last rotation up for Rutgers right now. Scarlet Knights warming up on the floor exercise for our fourth and final event of the day. Here's the status right now. Scarlet Knights second place behind Ohio State, and Yale currently in third. Let's send it down to mat level once again with Casey Murphy. Casey?
Thanks, Mark. As the Scarlet Knights get ready to go on the floor, they're looking extremely strong. They're sticking all of their landings right now. They have a lot of energy on the floor, and floor is traditionally Rutgers' strongest event, so it'll be interesting to see if they can pull this off at the end. And earlier today, Coach Levine told me he said he's very excited to see Claire Jones back on the floor. He's really excited to see her routine specifically. He thinks it's going to be very strong. And like he said earlier, they need to finish their routines. It's vital to the score. So if they can pull this out, it'll be a very, very close score with OSU.
All right, thank you, Casey. And like we talked about earlier, Crystal, we've seen a lot of gymnasts competing once again for Rutgers. Claire Jones is back, and so is Jenna Williams.
Right, and Claire has a great routine.
Jones, and that next edition,
So 1 minute left in this warm-up period right now. Ohio State still in the lead right now at 147-2. Rutgers in second place, 146-125. Our rotation, as it stands right now, going for Rutgers here on the floor event. Libby Groden first. Ayana Lee seconds. Katie Stiebick, her specific event, the floor exercise third. Wrapping up with Emma Hoffman, Rhea Lee, and Claire Jones. So 3 events down. Crystal, what have you seen the most, or what's really stood out to you about Rutgers today so far?
Personally, they've stuck their landings, and that is excellent because they're not giving anything away. And that's where you can catch up, like 1 or 2 tenths. If you take a step, that's 1/10 or 2 tenths, and they've been nailing them like they did on beam and bars. So now if they can do the same thing on floor, they could catch Ohio State. So
Ohio State a little more than a full point ahead of Rutgers right now. Scarlet Knights still looking for their first Big Ten win this season. Scarlet Knights' first win came last weekend in a quad meet at Michigan State, and Rutgers edged out Pittsburgh in that event. Libby Groden wraps up her all-around routine here on the floor exercise. And Groden's 3 previous events from today. Previously on the beam, Groden had a 9.850. And that young lady right there in the middle, Jenna Williams, made her rack debut on the beam previously as well. Groden had a season-high 9.8 on this event. He accomplished that last weekend at the Michigan State meet.
very nice double back. Pike, which is a D, and again, controlled landing, and that's what Lou wants to see.
What is the message from Coach Levine to his competitors before they head out onto the floor?
Just like I've always said, just have a good time, enjoy yourself, show off, because that's what the judges want to see, and that's what's so great about college gymnastics. The smiles, they play to the crowd, and it's just great. And she had a smile on from the time she stepped on the mat to the time she finished, and that's what you want to see. And your teammates help you get in it as well, and that's, it's just having fun.
And be yourself.
And be yourself and show off. You're performing out there, and that's where you can do on floor. Sometimes on beam you have to be a little bit more cautiousness, but floor you can let it all go.
And certainly floor is the one event where you're not limited to a specific area as well. You can obviously spread out and have a little more freedom and a little more flexibility to do what you want with your routines. So while Rutgers wraps up on the floor here, Ohio State will wrap up on the vault, while Yale currently on uneven bars.
Ohio State is on vaulting, and vaulting is again it's a great event to land last too, because it's you can let everything out. So and Rutgers is on a great event floor. So those are the two events that it's the best to end on.
How much of an advantage is that for ending on vault if you're the road team?
It's somewhat of a little bit, because you're not ending on beam. Sometimes that can be difficult. All right.
And here's Ayanna Lee's first event this afternoon. Lee, the sophomore from Bridgewater, New Jersey, out of Bridgewater Raritan High School. Lee listed at 5'1", competes primarily in the floor, the vault, and the balance beam.
Okay. Now she just stepped out of bounds, so that's going to be a 10th off of her average. And she ended with a D, and that's what good composition. You want to start with a D and end with a D, so that you have the up to the level in your floor routine.
Score just came in for Libby Groden, 9.675.
And there's the out of bounds that will come off of her average.
How much of a difference is it if 1 foot came out of bounds as opposed to 2? They obviously factor more into the 2? Or?
No, it doesn't. If you're out of bounds, you're out of bounds.
Okay.
1 foot, 2 foot now. And again, that's the other thing is if the judge caught it.
Ohio State huddling for most likely the final time today, because they just completed their event on the vault to wrap up the meet, while Katie Stiebick right here, the senior, gets ready to head onto her preferred event, the floor exercise. Stiebick competed twice on this event this year. Excuse me, she competed multiple times, 4 times, and her season high of a 9.750 she accomplished to lead off the season at the Little Boston Invitational against New Hampshire and George Washington.
And that's an E skill, which is very difficult. It's a front double, and not a lot of gymnasts perform that.
So at this point, and so far the routines that she's seen, what do you think the judges are processing right now?
They're watching her tumbling passes and her landings and how well she lands them. Like, it's very nice. You can have one step back, all right? And she's looking at form and whether the bonus combination that she needs. But she has a 10-0 start.
And we see her first tumble right here, going to the far corner of the mat.
Yeah, she had a little bit of leg separations on that, but again, it was a bonus combination. And again, this is an E skill, which is very difficult.
And she did a good job earlier making sure that her toes were inside that white line as well.
Yes, she did.
And here's her landing on the smaller mat, as you noted earlier.
Yes. And she's unique because she does her double back out of just a round off. Most of your gymnasts or your student athletes do a round off back handspring double back. And so she does it right out of the round off, which is a little bit more difficult.
$9.725 for Stiebick. Emma Hoffman today, her third event of the afternoon. On vault earlier, she started out with a 9.575, but had a good performance on uneven bars at 9.75.
And it's really nice to see Emma back in 3 events, and she's like the depth for this team, staying her redshirt year, which is great.
She had a difficult Achilles injury that she had to come back from early in her career, but has spent a lot of time in the sport of gymnastics throughout her whole life, going back to when she was around 3 years old.
And her whole family is gymnasts, so her sister was very strong as well.
Her sister, a champion, NCAA champion with Alabama.
That was a very nice tumbling pass. She landed it, didn't step out of it. Very nice routine. And again, Emma only has 2 passes, but she has all the difficulty that she needs in those 2 passes.
We get another look at those passes here.
Again, she had just the one step, which is allowable.
Again, your momentum carrying yourself to one far corner of the mat. So you're allowed to...
Yeah, you have to take one step back with no deduction.
And she did a nice job of that there. And her finish. Judge is still conferring on Hoffman. Scores coming in for Yale on uneven bars: 9.25, 9.6, 9.52, and a 9.725. And the Bulldogs' current score on bars is 47-2. As Rhea Lee now steps up onto the floor. Rhea Lee led off today on vault at 9.775.
Now she's going to take a few steps there, so the judge could take a landing deduction.
And a slight hop there, but still a good finish. Rutgers has had 4 meets this season, and Ali has competed on floor for all 4 of those meets. A season high of a 9.8 from the Michigan State meet this weekend. And even a dab, channeling her inner Cam Newton the day before the Super Bowl. So a good finish for Ali right here.
Yes, very nice routine.
And we'll take a look back at it. And her final tumble right here.
Again, very nice. Finished it. Just no deduction for steps. She would possibly get some deductions off of her first tumbling pass. But again, it's a front tuck through to a double back, which you don't see a lot of doing in a double salto pass. And so it's very unique.
And finally right here, Claire Jones.
Double layout, very nice. And on no step. She's an outstanding tumbler. And she's playing to the crowd.
And you can tell when the music changes as she tries to get the crowd into it as well. Her bench certainly is into it. And so is she.
It's great to see her back on the floor because she is a definitely lovely gymnast.
So that'll be the last individual performance of today. Ohio State has been finished on vault for a little bit right now. Yale also just finished on uneven bars, and we'll have also one exhibition right here on floor before we wrap up. Michelle Amorisano. As a coach, is your message any different to one of your gymnasts who's competing in an exhibition match as opposed to in the top six, in the front six of the lineup?
It's the same, and this is her opportunity to show to the coaching staff that she's ready if they need you. So it's the same format as if I was talking to any of the girls. That spot is just as important as the first girl up or the last girl up.
And at what point in the season do you decide if a gymnast competing in exhibition is ready for the next step?
It depends on how well she's doing. And you have to look at the entire group, your whole lineup. Is someone struggling, then you might put her into, shake up the lineup if you need to, if something's not working. And it's nice to have a backup. And it's also your seventh or eighth girl is your next one that's going to go in, and you want to get as much experience as you can in front of the crowd and the judge.
Morisano out of Whippany Park High School. And you can tell as the music changes, so will this part of floor.
Yes.
So now Morisano onto her second tumble, or her second rotation of this event.
And each gymnast picks their music that suits them. So, and each pass usually for your tumbling is a little bit faster music, and then your dance is a little bit slower.
What do you think Coach Lou Levine can take out of that?
Very good, very good. She had a little bit of execution maybe on her last pass, but it's a strong routine. And she's got the difficulty level that you need for up to the level. And she had a little step out of bounds.
Final rotation completed for Rutgers as well as for all of the teams. We'll take one final break here on our vision, and then once we get back, we will deliver the final results and the tallies to you here from the Rutgers Athletic Center. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Rutgers Athletic Center. As you see, all three teams starting to congregate here on the mat. That means it's time for the official scores to be read to the audience. Rutgers lining up on the right side of your screen here. Ohio State right in the middle. And we'll relay you a few individual scores right now. In terms of the winners for today, the overall winners. In first place on vault, Jamie Stone of Ohio State at a 9.875. But Mackenzie Shank, one of the highlights for Rutgers today, she won the uneven bars competition with that career high 9.875. So congratulations to her. Over on beam, Caitlin Hoffland of Ohio State at a 9.925. And on the floor, Alexis Maddern of Ohio State won that event with a 9.9. Now, we talked a little bit earlier, Crystal, but what are your overall impressions from the meet today for Rutgers?
I think they did an outstanding job. They are starting to execute everything well and doing the little things that they've been training in the gym, like sticking their landings and not giving away points. All right, and even though he has lost an athlete that was her top all-rounder, the other girls have stepped up and come to the plate, and him getting, Claire back and Jenna back has added to the depth that they needed. And so I'm sure he's very proud of them and what they've done. And the score will help them regionally, okay, which is what they needed to do.
Towards the regional qualifying score.
Right, exactly. Right. So.
And in first place, with a score of 9.875 from Ohio State.
We're going to run through the high scores here for Rutgers throughout the meet. The highest score for the Scarlet Knights on vault, Rhea Lee at a 9.775. And we mentioned bars earlier with Mackenzie Shank at a 9.875. Well done by Libby Groden, second place overall on the balance beam with a 9.85. And then the highest score on floor was Claire Jones of Rutgers at a 9.825. Emma Hoffman also finished at a 9.8 flat as well.
Rutgers,
and here's Shank right here. PA announcer Mike Cantor is going through the individual results for the overall winners of each event. But when we factor in all the cumulative scores right now, Crystal, Rutgers finished second overall in the meet today at a 194.900. And as we see it right now, Ohio State, the winner of the meet today, at 196.375. Yale in third place at just over a 190.3. So last weekend, Rutgers acquired a season-high 193.5. That was a season high. They surpassed that season high today. So now we're starting to see that progress in the middle of the season, Crystal. As, like you just said, Coach Levine wants to see his girls make the improvements throughout the season. I think we're starting to see that right now in the middle of the season.
Right, and they've now been doing their routines in front of the judges and the fans, so they're getting more used to it and what they need to do. So this will be a positive thing going back into the gym, all right, and thinking if they can pick up a few more little tenths here and there. So that's the game plan that I would say to the girls as well. We need to keep doing this, and they hit, 4 events today very strongly, so that's what he was aiming for. So.
And at what point in the season, as from the perspective of a head coach, do you want to see your team really hitting its stride? Do you want to see them start a season off early, or is it kind of towards the middle where you want to set yourself up?
Like March, towards the end of February and March, because that's where you're coming to the final 4 or 5 of your meets, and you want to go out with high scores. You can get rid of the beginning meets like in January, but you want to run strong at the end is what you want to do.
In second place, with a score of 39.000 from Rutgers, Libby Groden. And in first place, with a score of 39.175 from the Ohio State Buckeyes.
This right here, the all-around category that PA announcer Mike Cantor is reading. Taylor Harrison of Ohio State, you just saw here, won the overall all-around category.
In third place, the final score of 190.225.
So the final score is now being read for all the teams. Yale in third place, Rutgers second place, and Ohio State in first place overall, winning the meets. So the way that we have it set up right now, Rutgers will now continue their schedule moving on. Scarlet Knights have a duel at Maryland next weekend on February 14th. And then after that, they'll be back for their first event at the Livingston Recreation Center this season. That's a quad meet against Temple, Ursinus, and Penn. So Rutgers has been on the road for a little bit, past couple of weeks at Nebraska and Michigan State, but they got a test of the Big Ten competition on the road, came back here, saw it again. So how do you think Rutgers right now is set up for the rest of the season now that Claire Jones and Jenna Williams are back in the fold with the Scarlet
I think
Knights?
it's good for them. I think you're going to see the scores because they're consistent, and that will help raise his score higher than it is now. And if he can get up into the 195, 196, then he has a shot for a regional berth, and that's what he needs to do. So hopefully, Jenna can get back on bars, okay? And, like I said, this is first time for Claire tumbling, so she did a nice job coming back, and it added the depth that they needed.
We saw a couple of years ago, the last time that Rutgers went to NCAA regionals. They finished that season with a program, with a program best, 196. They surpassed that. They were able to have success in the postseason, and I will see how Rutgers has set themselves up going forward.
Yes.
Rutgers improves to Rutgers evens out at 2-7 this season. They defeat Yale today, one loss to Ohio State. So Rutgers now 2-7, 0-4 in the Big Ten Conference. Ohio State picked up 2 wins at 3-3, 1-3 in the conference, while the Yale Bulldogs fall to 1-6. Crystal, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Very good.
Scarlet Knights set a season high once again, a season high score of 194.990. On behalf of Crystal Chalet-Norton, the former Rutgers coach, and Casey Murphy, I'm Mark Sell, saying good afternoon from the Rutgers Athletic.